My dear friends, today I am going to share with you a concept called as self-actualization cycle. I had actually elaborated it in my best-selling self-help book called as the Unleash Your Potential. This self-actualization process comes into context, especially as human beings. It has been researched and found that most of us use a very small percentage of our humongous potential that God has given us. It says that most human beings use less than 10% of that potential which is there. Most of the other 90% plus of your potential is dormant. So if you understand this self-actualization process and cycle, I promise you, you will be able to, right from today, able to use your potential to a higher level and achieve higher performance and results. The self-actualization process actually starts with the first point, which is called as self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. Okay. The first important thing for every human being to really unleash his potential is to accept himself the way he is, the way he is not. He has to be in the mindset that I am okay. I am whole, complete, perfect and magnificent the way I am, the way I am not. This acceptance of the self is a very important first step in order for you to actualize your potential. Most human beings succumb to the inner chattering or little voice wherein it keeps on telling him that I am not good enough, I am not okay. And once if you succumb to that inner chattering, your ability to actualize your performance and your potential would be highly compromised. After the self-acceptation process, if you do it well, you can move on to the next one called as self-worth. You accepting yourself will automatically make you value yourself more. You feel more worthy of yourself. This is the automatic consequence of accepting yourself. The moment you feel worthy of yourself, it leads to the next aspect called as self-esteem. Self-esteem is nothing but the feeling of pride and the feeling of goodness that you have about your own self. And this is very, very foundational for any person to actually give a higher performance and to unleash his dormant potential. Okay. The way every human feels about himself and feels a sense of pride and acceptance of himself would enable him to do a higher performance and his action would be of a higher quality. This self-esteem leads him to the next important concept called as, which all of us have heard, is called as self-belief. Self-belief is nothing but the feeling of certainty that you have about any aspect. So when you feel certain about yourself, when you feel full about yourself, this automatically leads to you having a good attitude, good feeling, your actions become better and automatically results are better. This is how the self-belief has got a direct correlation to the results that you produce in your life. This self-belief leads you to the next important aspect called as, which all of us aspire for, is called as self-confidence. Many people, especially when you do very superficial understanding, they say build your self-confidence. But self-confidence cannot be built unless until you go through the entire cycle which I am talking about. We start with self-acceptance, feeling self-worth, then feeling about self-esteem, then you're talking about self-belief, and when you have all these in place, then self-confidence is the automatic consequence of these four factors. Self-confidence is the ability with which you are able to do certain things with that level of assurance in your ability. And this self-confidence has got a huge impact on how you are perceived by the other people, and also it impacts the quality of performance that you do in any activity that you do. And this automatically leads to the next important thing, which is called as self-competence. Okay. Competence. Okay. Self-competence is your ability to do and perform and achieve results as per your predetermined objective. Competence or a capability is a function of your attitude, skill and knowledge. Okay, so when you have all the other things like self-acceptance, self-worth, self-esteem, self-belief and self-confidence, your competence level automatically goes up. And when your competence level goes up and you have that assuredness and certainty, automatically you produce excellence in your work, and this automatically leads you to have a higher level every time you perform any job, and this leads you to higher actualization of your potential, and this is how the entire cycle gets complete. But friends, I want to tell you one more very important thing. Even though I have taken you from self-acceptance to self-competence, actually it's a two-way process. Okay, now you can as well start with self-competence. Like if you are competent about in certain vocation or certain skill or certain domain, okay, if you appreciate it, you acknowledge it, and you delve on that, automatically that self-competence in one area can make you feel confident in yourself. This self-confidence in yourself arising out of your self-competence can also impact your self-belief, which can impact your self-esteem, and which can also impact your self-worth and thereby your self-acceptance. So it's a two-way process which I want you to get present to. So either you start from your self-competence level by identifying area where you are really good, where you are acknowledged, where you are excellent, where you have an accomplishment of your old records. By delving on that, appreciating it, approving it, you automatically can also build up your self-confidence, then self-belief, then self-esteem, then self-worth and self-acceptance. Or you can go from the other side of self-acceptance to the self-competence portion. Any which way, I would strongly urge each one of you viewing this particular film or this particular video to start doing it right from now. It is in your hand. As human beings, God has bestowed you with so much of potential, and it's your duty to ensure that you are able to actualize your full potential and thereby achieve excellence and thereby achieve prosperity, progress in every area of your life, whichever vocation you may be following. So I wish you all the best and really urge each one of you to use this particular science of higher performance and higher productivity in your life. Thank you and God bless.